Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm so glad you could join me again today for this one. We're going to be doing a little something special today. This is going to be a collaboration video actually with Martin's channel from Stash05. And I'll actually have a link up here showing you his channel as well. But we're going to be doing this as part one, and then on his channel he'll have part two. And we're actually going to be doing a special top 15 things that we're excited about that are either coming out or just came out. To pre-order, to buy, new releases that are coming out, kind of to give you an update of some of these things that are coming out that maybe you don't know about, that you might be interested in, that, or something maybe you're going to want to get as well. I am planning on doing a review on a bunch of these as well as they come out, but I did just want to kind of get this out in here, so definitely make sure you check out his video on his channel as well, and I'll post the link for his channel down below in the description as well. And then we'll talk about the things that we're kind of both excited about in the videos that we both know we're both excited about, and then different things that each of us have differently. But we're going to break down the top 15. And I'm going to start from the least excited, which doesn't mean I'm not excited. Actually, my list was really hard to contain down. But before we get into that here, I do want to cover a couple of things real quick with you guys here. As always, please make sure to give these videos a thumbs up, subscribe, click the subscribe button below, and then also click the bell notification so you get notified as new videos come out, so that way you get notified what's being released, and so you know that, hey, he's got a new video out, something just like this, that way you have something new to watch. So make sure you click the like button, definitely subscribe to the channel, and then click the bell notification. And any of the links that I have down below in the description, those will be for the content that I talk about in the videos. What we're talking about, the top 15 things we're excited about here, I will have those links below, listed in the description below, and those are Amazon affiliate links. And I do appreciate all the support that I've been getting from all of you. And any of the links, just like the shirts and anything like that, will always be listed down in the description right below this video. That way you don't have to go around looking for each thing. You can just go in the description, look it up, and they'll all be listed down there with each item. So that way, if you do decide you want to go out and pre-order or get any of these, you can actually go down there. But as always, please make sure to like, subscribe, and click the bell notification. And I appreciate all the support you guys have been giving. Now let's dive into this here. Now, as I was talking about, this is actually a collaboration, obviously, with Martin's channel, which is Stash05. So if you guys haven't seen that before, I would definitely suggest going over there and subscribing, take a look at his content. He's got a lot of good stuff that he talks about. The interesting thing is him and I actually had a conversation that we were talking about what brought him to kind of like my channel, and what we were talking about that he was interested in on that was the fact of how I collect. Obviously, like you guys know, I collect physical media from all over the world. And he had kind of gotten a little bit away from it for a while because he'd gotten kind of into digital. He has a video about that as well. But I have not. We were talking about how I don't support digital at all. And that kind of brought him back more so into wanting to collect more again because he sees the benefits behind it. Like, something I mentioned, and I've talked about this with you guys before, is basically digital, in a sense, it does harm a large portion of the economy as well. I mean, especially nowadays, we've seen a lot of it affect like movie theaters with them being shut down and things like that. Theaters and studios now are releasing stuff digitally that was supposed to come out in theaters, but what that does is it harms jobs, because think of the hundreds and thousands of people that work at movie theaters, making popcorn, taking tickets, cleaning the theaters, electricians, building the theaters. I mean, and I'm not even listing off all the things that go into a theater. If things are released digitally instead of even coming out in theaters or physically, that not only harms stores and harms the theaters themselves. I mean, you saw the whole thing with AMC and the Universal releases with Trolls, how that really hurt them, and basically the controversy with that. That is part of one of the reasons why I support physical releases, and I go to the movie theaters as well. I don't watch things on digital, and that's just my stance, and it's always been that. And you can take it or leave it as you want, but that's just the way I am. I love movie theaters. I love the thought and going to them. I take my kids to it, my wife, and it's the memory behind it. And yeah, sure, sometimes it's easier to watch something at home, but there's still something about an experience of going to movie theaters. So that's kind of where the whole digital thing comes in, is there's multiple reasons other than just owning something and having a collection yourself, is that it does support jobs and the economy and things like that. And that's a big reason why I don't like the idea of digital cutting out the middleman, that it then gets rid of like I said, stores. When you think of Best Buy and Walmart, if they don't sell Blu-rays, DVDs, things like that, that's less for them to make a profit on, as well as to provide jobs of people that work in those electronic departments and those that stock the shelves and the shipping departments. And so there's a lot of things that are involved in it, which is why I'm not a fan of digital. So, not mean to digress a ton on that, because I know we're talking about the top 15 here, but I did want to just cover that a minute. So that's kind of where Martin from Stash 05, and he had for a while gone away and kind of gone more towards some digital things, and now he's coming back around and he's really interested back in collecting more and more. And I think that's great, because I hate to see somebody stop collecting with the amount of things that are starting to come out this year, especially, that I'm going to go over. There's a lot of exciting things in America and across the world coming out that, I mean, to be honest with you, this is the time to be collecting these, because if we can support these releases, they're going to bring out more. And this year has been a big sounding board for these studios deciding, hey, with the virus going on, people staying home more, is it going to increase sales? And we need to support these so that it does increase sales. So that way, hey, guess what? They're going to release more of these, hopefully, if we all support these. So I'm real excited about this list here with you guys. And I did have a real hard time narrowing it down. I'll be honest, it was difficult for me to decide the top 15. I had a lot of these that I wanted to talk to you guys about, but for length of the video and to do a top 15, Martin and I both decided we're just gonna do each of us 15. So first one here that I'm excited about, and this one's a unique one. So most of you that know anything about Netflix and digital knows that The Office, the complete series, which is coming out on Blu-ray now, the first 4 seasons have never been released on Blu-ray. They have always only been either on digital in HD, and that was it. Well, now that Netflix and some of the streaming services are losing their ability, their contract basically for streaming this show, basically Universal Studios decided they're going to release the complete box set, which has never been released in any country, anywhere in the world. They are releasing full HD complete box set that's coming out this year. And the complete box set is actually coming out on November 10th of 2020. So that one is coming out soon. And all of these are ones that are coming out within the year 2020. I didn't go beyond that. I tried to stick here just within the next several months, or things that just came out here recently. So that way it's all things you can be excited about that are coming out soon. So that one's one of mine that I'm excited about. And if any of you liked watching that show on streaming services, things like that, because it's going away and not going to be on those streaming services anymore, that's why Universal decided this is the perfect time to release it so you can own it. Now, they did have some of the later seasons from season 5 on that were released individually on Blu-ray, but the first 4 seasons have never been released in HD. So this is the only way that, as of right now, is available to get the entire series in HD. So that's why this one got number 15 on the list, is because I'm excited, but not as excited about some of these other releases that are coming out. So that one is, again, November 10th, 2020, the entire Office collection. And I've always been impartial to the initial, first 6 or 7 seasons are my favorite. After that, I felt like, after Steve Carell left, he was one of my favorite things. And I just really like Steve Carell in it. So I'm impartial at the beginning anyway, so I'm excited about that. All right, so, and again, just to preface this, I'll say this a couple times as we're going along, all of what we're talking about, I'll have all the links for all of these, the pre-orders or to buy them, below in the description below this video. That way, you guys do have access to those easily. You don't have to go search everything yourself. You just go down to the description, they're on there, you can click on them and go from there. And they're all the Amazon links for them as well. The next one I have on my list, number 14, is going to be District 9, the 4K. Now, this one isn't an old movie per se. I mean, it's older. I think it came out about 8 or 9 years ago. So it's not super old, but District 9 I thought was a great sci-fi film. Neil, the guy that directed the film and wrote the film, it was one of his first films after he'd done some indie little sci-fi films, and I thought it was great. It was one of those things that it kind of reminded me a little bit of the lived-in world of Aliens, and I really liked the Aliens films. Especially obviously Aliens, the one by James Cameron, that's my favorite of all of them. I did like Alien, it's a smaller film than kind of how I felt Aliens was more of a war against the Aliens film, but I did like that. And the District 9 gave me a lot of that sense of that feeling of just a good sci-fi. Special effects were great in it, I thought the acting was great and the story was really good in it. And it's getting remastered for 4K. So some of these titles are going to be 4K, some of them are going to be Blu-ray. I'll go through each of those as we're talking about it. But this one's specifically 4K. District 9 had been on Blu-ray before, but it had never been released remastered in 4K. and supposedly they've done an absolutely beautiful job with this, that the HDR is supposed to be stunning, so the black to dark ratio in it really is going to pop. So if you have a 4K TV, they say this is supposed to be reference material. It was filmed supposedly in 4K, so they actually had it already. They just had to go back in and they actually worked on it a little bit. And because Sony's mastering is so good right now, and what they've released recently has been just beautiful, I'm really excited about District 9. So District 9 4K comes out at number 14. That one also releases. District 9 comes out on October 13th of 2020. So coming out real soon here. We're talking real soon here, within a day or so. So that one's available. I'm really excited about that one. That one comes in again at number 14. Now, as always, any of these that you're excited about, please let me know in the comments. Mention them down below. Say, hey, yeah, I was excited about this one. No, I wasn't excited about this one. Some of the stuff that maybe you're getting, comment below. Let me know what you're looking at getting as well. I know Martin would like to hear as well, so obviously on his channel, you can let him know if there's things that you're excited about that as well. Now, Martin is excited about District 9, but it wasn't one of his he had listed on his top 15. But I'll just give a little caveat there that he was excited about it as well, but that one didn't make it into his top 15. So now we're going to go on to number 13 here. On number 13, this one I already own another release of, but I'm still going to get this. This one is Buck Rogers, and this is the Buck Rogers in the 25th century complete remastered series. This one's slightly different than the series I already have, and I eventually am going to do a comparison review between the two different releases that have come out. And they're both Universal releases. One's by Kino Lorber, is actually remastering the set. The other one was done by Madman Entertainment. And they're both remastered sets, but the big difference is that the Kino Lorber set, the one that's coming out here, the Kino Lorber one that's coming out is actually coming out on November 24th of 2020. So that one's coming out soon as well, November 24th. And it will have the initial movie, the theatrical movie, that's going to be remastered in full HD 1080p on Blu-ray as well. That was not ever released 1080p remastered in the Madman set. So that is where there is some slight differences between them if you've seen the two different sets out there. The Madman set that I own does not have the initial theatrical movie for Buck Rogers in the 25th century. That one's not remastered. It's in SD quality on that set. Whereas the Kino Lorber set, so the Kino Lorber set's going to be right here, and the Madman set's going to be right here. This one here, the Madman one, does not have the initial movie remastered. It's SD. So the rest of the Blu-rays look good on it, but the actual initial movie, the pilot movie that was theatrical movie, is not remastered. So I am excited about that portion, and I will link below. It does have the option, if you already own the Madman set, you can get the Kino Lorber set, just the initial movie remastered on Blu-ray on its own. And I'll put that down below in the description, the difference between the two. But you can actually get just the movie. So if you own the Madman set and you just want to get the movie, you can get that on its own to go with your initial Madman set. So I think Kino Lorber, the publisher, actually realized that maybe some people already own that and they would just want the initial movie. So that is an option for those of us that do already own the Madman set and want to have that movie in HD. It is available separately. And I'll put that down below in the description as well so you can see the difference between the two of them. But that set actually comes in, that one was number 13. But this one holds a special place in my heart. This one comes in at number 12. And this one is Home Alone 4K. And I know with the holidays that are coming up, a lot of you get excited about watching holiday movies. Some of you might not classify this as a holiday movie. I do, and my family does. We watch this every single Christmas. I don't think we've ever missed a Christmas where we haven't watched it, and my kids still laugh, and I still love the movie, and I'm sure all of you have special movies that you watch around the holidays that are kind of your go-to movies, but this one is mine, and we never fail. We watch this every year. And it's Home Alone 4K, and this one's completely remastered in 4K, and Disney released this. It was a 20th Century Fox film that now obviously Disney owns 20th Century Fox, so they remastered this and released this, and it is available on 4K. It has been hard to find. This one did come out and is available now, but I have not been able to get a hold of it yet. Every time I've gone to buy it, it's been sold out. So I'm waiting for it to come back in stock, but I will have the link down below so you can keep track of that, and if it's available and you want to get it, you can get that. But I had a horrible time and I've not been able to get it yet. I've been watching You just have to keep checking the link and then you'll see if it's available. But Home Alone 4K I am excited about. I heard it looks beautiful. The Blu-ray was done back to the original early time of when Blu-rays were released, was when Home Alone was released. So the Blu-ray did not have the best mastering quality on it. It had a lot of some screen tearing. It also had, if you've ever seen where the frame rate doesn't keep up with the TVs and it gets like these, I call them jaggies on the screen. I'm sure there's a technical term for it, but got a lot of jaggies around fast motion that you could see. And that's all supposed to have been cleaned up because it's a 4K image. It's supposed to be pristine. So I'm excited about that one. Once I get that one, I'm hopefully going to be able to do a review for you guys on that as well. But that one comes in at number 12. And that one I'm very excited about. And that is available now. So you can actually go out there and order it and you can get that. But that one is number 12 on my list. Very excited about that one. Huge Home Alone fan. Okay, now we're going to go on to number 11. This one, some of you might have heard of before and some of you might not have. It's a Gregory Peck film, and it's an old Western film, black and white Western film. Very classic film, and it was right on the era of when Western films in theaters had primarily before this time been lighthearted, not very serious films. So the Gunfighter was one of the first, I'm not going to say it was the first, but it was one of them where it took a serious tone and a look at what violence and things that happened in the West, how it affected people's lives. And it tried to take a little bit more serious of a look at it. It's a very, very good film. And I think it did a great job. Gregory Peck does a great job in it, but it's called The Gunfighter, and it's by Criterion Collection. This has never been released on Blu-ray in the US. There was a release in Germany on Blu-ray, but it was not remastered well at all. And I actually was going to do a review on it, and then when I found out Criterion was releasing this completely remastered from a 2K scan that's going to look beautiful, I saw some of the screen clips between that and the one in Germany. So I waited and I decided I'm going to do a review once The Gunfighter, I'm actually able to get a hold of that. I'm going to hopefully do that one as a review for you guys as well. But The Gunfighter, Gregory Peck, a really great Western. You guys know I'm a big fan of Western films. And this one's I'm excited about. And it's a Criterion collection. If any of you have been collecting Criterion movies for a while, I collect primarily most of their older films. I mean, Cary Grant movies, John Wayne movies, Western movies in general. There's a lot of them that I own. They do a phenomenal job with booklets in them. They do a great job with the special features. The cases are beautiful. The artwork they do is great. So that one I'm very excited about. The Gunfighter Criterion Collection Blu-ray that's coming out. First time in the US. So if you love Western movies, black and white Western movies, it's a good one. And if you haven't seen it yet, I'd recommend it. All right, and that one, now The Gunfighter comes out. Gunfighter is October 20th, 2020. So coming out real soon here. So Gunfighter Criterion Collection, October 20th, 2020. All right, we're going to go on to the next one here. This one's number 10 on my list. Spartacus 4K. This is by Stanley Kubrick, and I do like Spartacus because it reminded me of, and maybe you won't like the comparison, but it did remind me a lot of earlier Gladiator with Russell Crowe. And I know maybe you think the comparison isn't a great comparison, but I will say I absolutely loved The Gladiator. My dad and I went to see that growing up, and I already own that one, so that's why it's not on the list. But Spartacus was like an earlier, like it reminded me of a less intense Gladiator, but a really good film. I definitely recommend it. The 4K remaster is beautiful. I have not gotten my copy yet. I did order it, but it has not shown up yet. So that is why this one's on the list, because I tried to pick out things I hadn't gotten yet my hands on, things that had just come out. So that one is available right now. That one was just released recently. That one's available right now. So you can actually go out and order it, and they'll ship it to you whenever the mail, with how slow things are going, gets to you. But that one is available, and the Spartacus 4K remaster, I've heard, is beautiful. So that one I'm excited about, and that comes in at number 10. All right, next one, and this one, actually, Martin from Stash 05, he's actually excited about this one as well. We have a combination of a couple of these now that are the same. So this one we both had on our list. This one comes in at number 9 for me. And this one is The Godfather, Coda, The Death of Michael Corleone. Now, if any of you have been following like the history of this, and The Godfather Coda is basically the third film that they're going back, and the original director and Mario Puzo, Mario Puzo isn't alive anymore, but he had helped actually rewrite some of the scenes they thought did not film well in the third film when it was originally released. And they'd always talked about, the director had always talked about going back, and Paramount finally said, let's do it, let's go back, let you look at it, let you redo it, let you work on the film again to make it what you originally had intended it, how you wanted it to appear, how you wanted the story to go. The scenes with his daughter, the director's daughter's in it, because the original actress that was supposed to be in it actually backed out at the last minute. So Francis Ford Coppola is actually the director of the film. Mario Puzo was the writer of the original books. So they're loosely based on basically Ma, the history. And it's not, they say that it's not the exact characters that existed back then, but it's a combination of different events that happened. And I think it's a very interesting historical look at what was going on in New York and things like that at that time with crime bosses and crime syndicates and things like that. And that's where it's definitely not a kid's film. It's not something that I ever let my kids watch, and it's not something that, I'm very careful about it. So it's an interesting look at the history of things that went on. And the third film had a lot of story ends that it didn't do a good job tying up. So the director, Francis Ford Coppola, decided he wanted to go back, and Paramount finally said, hey, we're going to let you go back and work on this film and make it how you originally intended it and how Mario Puzo had originally intended it to be as well. So he got to go back in and re-edit this. He's added some scenes, taken some scenes out, shortened some scenes, lengthened some scenes, changed some of the music in it to make it more what he really wanted it to be. And he had done this with Apocalypse Now here a couple of years ago. And they had decided to let him do this now, obviously, with the final Godfather film. So this one is called Godfather, Coda, The Death of Michael Corleone. And I've had a picture up here of the cases. And as I've been going along, I've been putting pictures of each of these releases up here. So this one I am excited about. And, Martin, from Stash 05 was excited as well. We were talking about it briefly, that the thing about this one is I like when they go back and they can make a new version of a film. There's one that I hold close to my heart that some people hate and some people love, and that would be the extended version of Superman the movie that was released on TV. And I actually just got that. I didn't realize they had released it, and I actually just bought that. And I know I'm supposed to be sticking to my list here, and I do apologize, but I couldn't resist telling you guys about this. I just got the extended release. It was released by Warner Archive, and I'll put a picture of it up here. The extended release of this film, in my opinion, is the better film. Now, the original director Richard Donner does not like the extended release of this film at all. He likes the slimmed down version where it keeps things moving. But the weird thing is Superman's my favorite character of all time, as you probably can tell by the symbol of the channel, is reminiscent of Superman's colors and things like that. That's kind of a little bit of history behind it. But anyhow, so I love Superman. Well, the extended version was what I always watched growing up on TV. It would play on a Saturday or things like that. And so I always watched the extended version. And the movie, yes, you could rent it on VHS and things like that from the movie store, but I almost never saw it on VHS. We didn't have a VHS player for a lot of the time when I was little until we got older, and then I would rent that. But I had grown up seeing it on TV, the extended version. That's the version I love. That's the version I remember. There's a lot of scenes I think that add to the story and that I really enjoyed. Different things with Superman I thought actually made the movie better. So that extended version I really like. So I'm really interested to see what they do with The Godfather, the third film, because I actually thought the third film of the series, if you guys have seen all three of the Godfather trilogy, I actually thought the third film of the Godfather trilogy was the weakest of them all. Now, maybe you thought it was great. I thought the first one was the best, the second one was not as good as the first one, and then the third one obviously was the worst. So I'm excited to see if that changes, and if they make this one, actually the third one, even better, which I've heard it's supposed to be pretty good, but I haven't seen it myself, so that one I am excited about. And that one comes out at number 9. Now, The Godfather, the Coda, The Death of Michael Corleone comes out on December 8th, 2020. So you can pre-order it, and then when it comes out, it'll be shipped to you. But December 8th, 2020, that's when that one will be available. So that one I'm excited about. But if you didn't know about the Superman collection, that one up here, the extended release that was released on TV, it is quite a bit longer. And I might be wrong on this. Don't hold me to this. I think it's 45 minutes or 35 minutes longer. It's a ton of more content in it. You're getting a drastically different movie. So if you haven't seen that one, I suggest getting that release. I do like it, even though the original director didn't. That's what I grew up with. And that's the thing about movies that I talk about all the time on this channel. it's all about what we have as personal feelings towards movies. So I might love something and you might not, or you might love something else that I don't. And we all have different things that we see in them. Some of them are things that we remember from childhood that bring us back to that movie. That's one of those things that when you watch it, maybe the movie's not that great, but it's the feeling that it gives each of us when we watch those movies. And that's where I love collecting things. And that's why I love talking to you guys about this and that you guys collect things. Is because every one of us, whether you're a guy or a gal, and whether you're a man or woman, doesn't matter. We all have different feelings for why we like different things in films. And that's what's exciting about all of this, finding these old treasures that come about. I get real excited when they remaster all these old stuff and bring out even stuff from 10 years ago and remaster it just to make it look better so you can keep it in your collection, and I get real excited about that. So that one I'm excited about. So Superman, I'm excited about that. That wasn't supposed to be on my list, but I kind of brought it up because I couldn't resist because I just ordered it and I was really excited about it. And I may do a review on that as well. Once I get it, kind of tell you guys about that. But got a lot of things to cover. So let's go to the next one here. Moving on to number 8 on the list. Number 8 is Collateral 4K. This one's by Michael Mann, and I'm a big fan of Tom Cruise. I don't agree with his personal life, obviously. I don't agree with a lot of actors' personal lives, but that's not the point here. Collateral itself was, I thought, a very well done film. It was nothing like what I'd expected. I'd probably say it's one of the most unique Tom Cruise roles he's ever played. And he's done a lot of action heroes and lots of, hey, save the day, things like that. This one, he's completely different. This one, he is a hired, I don't want to blow it for you, but a hired hitman, basically. And it's not what you're going to be thinking, that he's, it's going around, it's super bloody and violent. It's not. It's a very clever thriller is what I'll call it. Kind of espionage thriller, not what you're thinking. There's a lot of things that happen that are just well done. It's one of my, I would say, guilty pleasure movies, if that's the correct word. I don't know if that's offensive. I don't know maybe I don't quite know what that means to use it correctly, but it is definitely one of my pleasures. That when I want a movie it's a thinking, really well done. It's got some action in it, but you're really wondering what's happening. It's just great movie. And this one also, Martin, obviously, Stash 05, he actually is excited about this one also. This one he has on his list. But that one comes in at number 8, and this one's being remastered in 4K. The original release on Blu-ray, again, the reason why some of these 4K re-releases that are getting a big deal right now is because some of the original Blu-rays had a lot of mastering issues because they did them when the format first came out. And if any of you know anything about collecting things, when the format first comes out, just like the first 4Ks that came out years ago, they had some mastering issues and were not done great. So when they wait a couple of years and they work on the craft, it gets a lot better, and this one is going to look superb. The original Blu-ray looked okay, but it had lots of issues on it, that certain scenes were so dark you couldn't see anything, and the HDR on this is going to make it really pop. So Collateral 4K comes in at number 8, and Collateral, that one comes out on December 8th. So December 8th, 2020, that's when you can get that one. Again, I have mine pre-ordered, and all of these I have mine pre-ordered. So in case you're wondering, any of these that haven't come out, I've either pre-ordered them or ordered them, and I'm waiting for them to come. So that's why these are on my list here. So I am excited about these ones. So that one's on there. Collateral 4K, December 8th. All right, next one up. This one's another one that Martin's excited about as well. We're both excited about this one. And I have not seen this one, so I can't recommend this one as far as that I love the film or don't love the film. I don't do digital, as you all know, and we've talked about numerous times. So this one was a digital Netflix film that I have not seen. And it's called The Irishman. And it's, in case you didn't get the theme here, I did 3 in a row that are very similar in theme. Godfather is kind of like a older mob, kind of mixed with like history type thing. The Irishman is supposedly a similar type thing. It's obviously mixed with some truth and some history and then some fiction, and it's kind of an interesting telling of like around the time of, I think it was like Nixon and things like that, and the corruption that went on and the things that happened, and I like, those history of finding out, okay, how did things happen? So it's kind of like a mixture of like, I guess, partially like true and partially not, and it looks really good. So that one's on my list, and it's the Irishman Criterion Collection Blu-ray. This was released on Netflix, and this is one of the first Netflix films that's being released by Criterion Collection. So I'm assuming this is going to be great. I'm excited to see how this turns out. I can't recommend the movie. I haven't seen it yet, so I don't know what's in it. I don't know if it's good, if it's bad. I don't know how the movie... So this one was one of those ones that I didn't have much to offer on it because I didn't know too much about it. But this one is on my list at number 7. And that one, the Irishman Criterion Collection Blu-ray, that one actually comes out on November 24th. So that one's November 24th. So that's another Criterion one. Obviously, we had the Gunfighter from before that I was talking about. So there's 2 different Criterion Collection Blu-rays that are coming out that I'm excited to see how they turn out. All right, so number 6 on the list here. And number 6, this one actually is out, and this one's already available. So you can actually get this now. It just recently came out. My copy has not come yet. This one is a Warner Archive release, and it's Genesis 2 and Planet Earth 2-film Blu-ray collection by Warner Archive. And as you'll see here, it's got both films in it. And what's unique about this, in case a lot of you don't know this, these are 2 films done by Gene Roddenberry. And he's just a small director, and most of you might not have heard of him. But if you've watched my channel, you've heard of him. If you've watched a lot of sci-fi, you've heard of him. Gene Roddenberry, obviously, is the mastermind and creator of Star Trek. He obviously created some other shows that I love as well, but Star Trek is one of his most popular and most famous shows that he created, so that's why I referenced that one. He did do numerous shows after that I actually like as well, but Star Trek is the one that most of you are going to remember him by. So that's why I referenced that one. So Gene Roddenberry did these. They were originally, I guess, pilot films for TV series they'd considered doing, but they did them as movies, and then they just never decided to do them as actual TV series from then on. So they're just 2 movies that are kind of self-contained, and I did like them. So that one is actually released by Warner Archive, and it's available right now. It just came out recently, and that one actually is available right now. That one comes on my list at number 6. I did not get my copy yet. I ordered it, but it has not come yet. So that's why that one's on there, because that one is one of the ones that I'm excited about. So it is a kind of niche. If you like sci-fi and you like Star Trek and you like Gene Roddenberry, I like to collect those kinds of things and give them a chance. And it's definitely something I would give a try. And I think that as Gene Roddenberry has done things over the years, I definitely like the stuff he did. So that one I was excited about. Now we're getting up into the top 5 here. Now these were hard. It was hard for me to make this list anyways. Any of you gals, any of you guys watching, it is hard to make a list of your top 15 to kind of go up what's coming out, because there's a lot of stuff coming out. But I tried to just give you guys a wide plethora of things that way it's not all one genre, it's all different things that I'm excited about. So top 5 coming out here. All right, this one was a no-brainer for me. I love Cary Grant. I grew up on a steady dose of good old cinema. And when I say a steady dose of good old cinema, there was a lady I used to know named Helen, and we lived in a place in Michigan. She lived maybe about an hour away or so, and we used to spend the night there when my parents would go out on date nights and things. And I remember she would always take us to this old movie store which had VHSs that were like you couldn't find or you couldn't buy. They weren't available like Blockbuster or Hollywood Video or any of those movie stores at the time, and you'd rent them, but they were extremely expensive to rent. I mean, I remember back in the 80s and things like that, I mean, I think we spent I remember rentals were like $5.50, which back then for these rentals, it was expensive. But it was because the VHSs were extremely hard to come by or they were out of print. So she would always get old Cary Grant movies and Doris Day, and John Wayne. And that's why a lot of my collection, you know, Gregory Peck and things like that, is because I grew up watching a lot of these actors that a lot of people nowadays might not know about. And it's a shame because Cary Grant was phenomenal. I mean, some of his movies, North by Northwest, I love. Indiscreet. I mean, I could go on and on for hours. But there's a Cary Grant collection that I have a picture of up here. This one came in at number 5. This one is being released by Kino Lorber, and this one is actually a collection that has 3 of his films in it that have never been released on Blu-ray ever. 2 of them are more well-known, the other one's more of an obscure title, but it doesn't matter to me. I love Cary Grant's films, even his lesser-known ones. His like suave and attitude and just the way he plays off of every other actress that's in the movies was just so good. And so even though, like I said, I've got new movies I like and, you know, old movies, this Cary Grant collection I was really excited about. And this one actually, the Cary Grant collection is available right now. It actually just came out. I think it came out this week. So I pre-ordered mine. Mine has not arrived yet. Again, obviously with the mail, it's not here. But so this one just came out. And the Cary Grant Collection, Blu-ray Collection, remastered by Kino Lorber. It's a 3-movie collection. Is number 5 on my list. I highly recommend Cary Grant. If you have not watched some of these old movies and you like old movies, Cary Grant is one of my favorite actors of all time. I mean, there's not many actors that held as much charisma as Cary Grant did. He could carry a movie just on his looks on his face when he was doing things. And so when I talk about old movies, Cary Grant is huge. I love Cary Grant. I have tons and tons of his films. And so this one is a big one on my list. And this one, again, is available and it just came out. So this one comes in at number 5. I highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. Cary Grant, if you haven't watched Cary Grant movies, there's dozens of them that I recommend of his. And maybe sometime I'll do a Blu-ray collection of all Cary Grant movies that are out on Blu-ray and talk to you guys about those. So this is turning into a lot longer of a video than I planned. I thought I was just going to go through and list these off, but I have so many things I'm coming up with that I want to tell you guys about. So when I bring these up, guys and gals, I'm just thinking of these things as we're going along and sharing with you as we go. So I hope you don't mind some of the stories about some of these. But maybe that'll be something in the future I'll do as well. I've got all these ideas that I'll do some, like, here's a collection of, here's all my Cary Grant Blu-rays from all over the world. And here's the ones that I really like. Here's the ones that aren't as great. And maybe I'll do that as well. So this is kind of giving you a little idea of some things I'm going to do in the future as well. So I hope you like that as well. On to number 4. Now, I did reference just a minute ago, back on number 6, Genesis 2 on Planet Earth, Gene Roddenberry. Well, I made a video on my channel before about a reaction video about how excited I was about Picard, the Star Trek series coming out. That actually is available, Picard Season 1 on Blu-ray. And I actually pre-ordered and bought the Steelbook set. It has not come yet. Again, this is all a list of things I haven't gotten yet. But the Steelbook is supposed to be on its way, and I actually pre-ordered. It's available regular packaging in Steelbook. I think the Steelbook you spend like maybe $4 or $5 more. Or you can get it in the regular, it doesn't matter. The same disc, same content. But anyhow, Picard Season 1 comes in at number 4. I am thrilled about this. Huge Star Trek fan. Absolutely huge. I loved Next Generation. Next Generation still ranks as my number 1 Star Trek series of all time. Now, some of the other Star Trek series fall a little bit below that in different ways. So obviously I'd have Star Trek Next Generation's number 1. My number 2 would probably be Voyager in a weird way, and there's a reason for it. I liked how it tied back with the Borg. The Borg were my favorite Star Trek villain of all time, so that's why Voyager, I really liked the later seasons of Voyager. Then would come, obviously, original Star Trek and Star Trek movies with James T. Kirk. Then would fall Enterprise, Deep Space Nine, and my least favorite is Discovery. And there's several reasons for that. Discovery is, in my opinion, not exactly what Star Trek originally was created for. And don't hate me for it, but you might love the show. But Star Trek was supposed to be about hope, and that there was supposed to be the greatest of the human spirit and hope. And I feel like Discovery does a lot of things that are, it's darker. It's a lot of the times something kind of depressing is going on or happening, or people are, and I understand they want to make it more realistic so people are dying, but it's not the greatness of the human spirit the way that I had always imagined Star Trek has been. And even Voyager was considered darker at the time, but it still was about the goodness inside each one of us and the goodness that we each exude, and basically taking that into the future and saying, hey, look at what the human spirit and what humans could do if we worked together, and we got rid of crime, and we all cared about each other and helped each other. And I feel like that's what it was, and I feel like Discovery has gotten quite a bit away from that. So that is why I am not as big a fan of Discovery. Now, I am a huge fan, and I am excited about the new Strange New Worlds, because I thought Captain Christopher Pike, who is one of my favorite actors from Hell on Wheels, the Western series, Anson Mount, he is great. I like him as Captain Christopher Pike, and I actually thought the actor that plays Spock in that is great as well. So that's going to be its own series, and my understanding is that's supposed to go back to the way Star Trek was supposed to be. A little bit more lighthearted, more about joy of the human spirit, about goodness. So I'm really excited about that series. So Discovery is way farther down the line from all these other series. So Picard, I'm super excited about. That one actually just came out. Picard Season 1 on Blu-ray. It's available right now. It actually just came out, I think, today as I'm filming this. So, or was it yesterday? Either way, it's available right now, so you can actually go down. It's obviously all of these are linked down in the description below this description. So you can order that. It's available. Card Season 1 comes in at number 4, remastered Blu-ray. And when I get that one, I'm going to do a review on that for sure. I am super excited about that. I got some special things to go along with it that I want to show you guys that I suggest you get with it. But I'm going to do a review eventually on that one. But that one comes in at number 4. So huge Star Trek fan. Hugely excited about that. And when Strange New Worlds comes out on Blu-ray, I'm going to be hugely excited about that too. I'm just warning you right now. So anyhow, so that comes in at number 4. All right, now we're in the top 3 here. Number 3 on the list. We're going back a little ways here. One of my all-time favorite time travel trilogies of all time. And I'm sure you're all already thinking in your mind what I'm going to say. Back to the Future. I mean, come on. Who does not love Michael J. Fox? I mean, loved the actor growing up. I mean, Mikey and me, I remember going to see it probably 3 times in theaters with my sisters. And like some of those movies I really loved. But Michael J. Fox, Back to the Future, I love the series. All 3 films, maybe people don't like film 2, but I absolutely love film 3. I actually thought film 3 was better than film 1 and 2. A lot of people don't think that, and it's all opinions, but that was just my opinion. I grew up, I loved film 3, how it went back to the West, because I loved Western movies, so I thought it was cool technology with West. And anyhow, so Back to the Future 4K trilogy coming out. Now, the Back to the Future 4K trilogy is coming out October 20th, 2020, so it's coming out soon here. October 20th, 2020. This one's completely remastered in 4K. Now, I do have the Blu-ray copies of this already, and I'm already going to upgrade to the 4K because, again, the Blu-ray copies were good, don't get me wrong, but if you've seen the difference on a 4K TV versus the 4K versus the Blu-ray copy, the difference is outstanding. It sharpens the image, it clears the image up, the colors pop, the HDR, the difference between the light and the dark pops, so it makes the image look, I mean, I'd probably say about 80% more lifelike than the Blu-rays. So I'm very excited about that 4K trilogy. I think that it's going to be a big upgrade over what the Blu-rays do. And I really had hoped this year they were going to do the Indiana Jones collection on 4K. I had heard that was coming out, and I actually went to add that to my list. That was going to be in my list at the top, like 5. It's not coming out yet. And I don't know what Disney's doing. I know they did the whole Disney Plus thing, and right now they're kind of, I'm not trying to be rude to anybody here, but Disney is screwing over basically movie theaters and, you know, all those employees that work there and, you know, AMC and Cinemark and all of that, because they're releasing all these films that were supposed to come out in theaters. They're releasing them digitally and then charging people on top of that to watch it one time digitally, and you don't really own anything. But I dislike that a lot. And I'm worried that basically they're not going to release 4Ks or Blu-rays anymore because they're so enamored into just making money on digital because they think people are going to pay $35 to watch one film one time, and people are doing it. Don't know why. To me, it seems like a waste. You're not even getting the theater experience. There's something about going to the theater, watching it on a big screen, that you're paying for that, fine, I get that. But you're watching on your own home TV that you should be able to buy it and own it and then watch it 20, 30 more times over your lifetime. But it is what it is. So I did want to have the Indiana Jones collection on here, but it's not available, and I don't know what they're doing. They kind of just stopped with their 4K releases all of a sudden, and there was an article saying that they had said that they weren't going to release physical copies of movies anymore, but I don't know how true that is. They haven't really said much other than, well, we're not sure what our status is on that. So I don't know what Disney's doing, but Back to the Future is on here. I do hope we get Indiana Jones, the complete remastered collection on 4K, because the Indiana Jones Blu-ray collection needed a little bit of work. It looks good, don't get me wrong, but on 4K, it'll sharpen up everything. So I do hope that comes out. But Back to the Future, hugely excited about the trilogy. And in the 4K, they're actually going to be giving us, I don't know if any of you went to Universal growing up on the Back to the Future ride, but I used to love that. I mean, I got to take my kids one last time. We were actually there the last week that they had it at Universal Orlando. And I liked how the ride tied in the movie. I actually thought it was, I mean, to be honest with you, I thought it was great. Maybe some of you thought it was cheesy, but I loved walking in there and the capacitors on the walls and getting in the car and, and how Doc Brown, they even had actors there, and they looked like it, they had lines, and I loved the ride. I was so sad when they took it out. I understand they put The Simpsons in, and it's entertaining, but nothing beats the original Back to the Future ride. But they include the Back to the Future ride on this 4K Blu-ray as well. So I was excited about that because I was worried that wasn't going to be included, because I feel like that is a part of the history of Back to the Future, that it kind of actually is a part of the story, because they actually filmed it, and it's like kind of like Back to the Future 3.5-ish. Like, it's actually like, I felt like it was tied to it. So I'm very glad that's going to be included in the 4K release of Back to the Future Trilogy. That one I'm very excited about. And Martin from Stash 05, he's excited about that one too. So Back to the Future 4K Trilogy, we are both excited about. So definitely check that one out. That's on 4K, and that one's going to be a huge release. This next one, now this one comes in at number 2. And this one's, you're going to give me a hard time for, because it's technically 2 different releases, but they're tied together, so I cheated a little bit, and I basically tied these together into one number. So this is number 2 on my list. I got away with 2 of them in here. So anyhow, number 2 on my list. And this one, again, Martin's very excited about this as well. And this one is Lord of the Rings, the Hobbit 4K trilogies. So see how I tied them together? I feel like they should have been done in one box set and just done all 6 films in one big box set, but they're not. They're doing them separately. So it's going to have Lord of the Rings, the first 3 movies, and actually Hobbit's the first 3 movies. It's just they were filmed in misorder. So anyhow, the way they were released is Lord of the Rings, the first 3 movies. It's going to have them remastered on 4K. It's going to have both editions in it, which I love that Warner Brothers did this. And if you hear me, Warner Brothers, thank you so much for releasing them all together instead of doing that piecemeal stuff you guys did before, where the extended editions were released separately from the theatrical editions. These will have them both in one box set for once, which is great news for us that collect these, so we don't have to double dip numerous times. Lord of the Rings will have both the extended edition and it will have the theatrical edition all in one 4K box set. This one, the only release date I was able to get as of recording this video today is it's coming out in December of 2020. They did not give an exact date as of today, so it's out there to pre-order. It'll come out this year, but they did not give the exact day it's coming out in December, so soon. This one I'm hugely excited about. Same thing with The Hobbit. That one's going to be December of 2020 as well. And The Hobbit 4K is going to be the same thing. It's going to be, you're going to have all of your theatrical and all of your extended editions all in one Blu-ray box set, and that's the one over here. I put these together because I honestly believe that if you're going to watch the series, you need to watch the entire thing together. And you start with The Hobbit, obviously, because that's the beginning. So you start with The Hobbit. You watch The Hobbit all the way through all 3 movies of the trilogy. The extended editions, by the way, are my favorite, in case you're wondering. I love the extended editions. I thought they brought so much more from the books back. And I actually read the books growing up of The Hobbit and obviously then The Lord of the Rings. And I thought there was a lot of things that when the movies originally came out that I remembered in them that got left out. And that always disappointed me a little bit. I thought, hey, you know, why didn't they include this and that? When they came back and released the extended editions years later, holy cow, did they add a lot of stuff in it that was in there originally, and I loved it. I was like, wow, they added a lot of the stuff. Obviously, it doesn't have everything from the books. If you want the full, complete, best, go read the books, obviously. But the extended editions are as close as you can get. And there is supposedly a new TV series coming out about it as well that's going to be redoing them. I don't know how they'll compare up to what's already been released, because I thought the Hobbit series and obviously the Lord of the Rings series were phenomenal. I love them. They are up there with some of my favorite films. I got my wife, who doesn't like stuff like that at all, to watch them, and she loved them. And my parents, we went to see them growing up. Obviously, my dad and I loved them. All the like battle scenes against the orcs and things like that were just great. And I remember my dad used to get so excited about watching when they'd come out, and we'd wait for when those movies would come out in theaters, and we'd be so excited. So I have a great place in my heart for these films, and I'm very excited about them. So both of these releases fall into number 2 on my list, the 4K releases, and I am excited to see how they do with the HDR, the colors, because remember, with 4K releases, if you have a 4K TV that's set up correctly, the colors on them should pop. And I'm talking the colors, the HDR, and when it does, it really makes it look about 30 to 40% better color saturation and color variance than what you're going to see on a Blu-ray. And I didn't really understand the technology until I really sat down with some technicians that worked on basically setting up your home theater. And they really went through with me about, here's what the difference and here's how it makes such a big difference. The discs, what you're playing it on, the TV, things like that. So 4K, once I saw the difference and they actually showed me if it's set up correctly, here's what your actual difference between the two is. The 4Ks look phenomenal a lot of the time over even the Blu-rays. And I love Blu-rays, don't get me wrong. But the 4Ks do have enough of an upgrade that it's worth me double dipping from a Blu-ray and getting the 4K edition of this. But I'm glad the 4Ks will have both. So that way I don't have to keep my Blu-ray copies because it's going to have both my basically extended and theatrical editions of both of these. So this one though doesn't have a release date again. This one's going to be in December here, they're saying, of 2020. So that's down there obviously so that you can pre-order it as well. And then coming in at number 1, and I talked to you guys about this before, and so this might be cheating a little because I already released a video about this, but I just wanted to make sure I brought this up because this one is my number 1 most excited release that's coming out. And you can all probably guess this. It's Mission Impossible, the complete remastered 1080p HD series on Blu-ray. And if I seem excited about that, that's because it's number 1 on my list. I am super excited about this. I never thought they'd come back and remaster some of these old shows, and I'm hoping, I know part of my excitement too is that I'm hoping this leads them to do more of these. Obviously there's shows like Mannix that maybe some of you don't know about, but Desilu Productions, when it was sold to Paramount, basically this was one of their last series they did, which if any of you know about Desilu Productions, Desi Arnaz and Lucille Ball, who were of The Lucy Show, and I Love Lucy, both of those shows, they actually got married on that show and they started their own production company. And this was one of those shows that they actually produced and released. And it was a great show. And I do like I Love Lucy as well. It's one of those things. My sister, I have a sister that it's her favorite old show of all time. I remember growing up, we would always, when Nick at Night was on, we would watch I Love Lucy. If it was on, that's what we were watching and nobody better touch the remote. So that was one of those shows that basically, if that was on, that was what we were watching. So that's where I got to know Desi Arnaz and Lucille Ball, another great old TV show. So, but they had their own production company, and actually, which I wasn't aware of that until years ago when I researched the history of it, they actually helped make Mission Impossible and several other shows. There's a lot of history behind those, and as I do some of my other reviews, I try to go into that as well. But Mission Impossible, I'm hugely excited for. I'm hoping we pre-order and buy enough of these that then they will go back and do dozens of these other series they have. I mean, Matlock I love, Jag I love, I mean, list goes on. And it'd be great if they do complete box sets like this. So I'm hoping we all order this now. That's my number 1. Mission Impossible, the complete series, remastered Blu-ray. That's November 17th, 2020. So that's coming up very soon here as well. And that's what I've got for my list today. That gets you from 1 all the way through 15. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I tried to do something a little bit different. I know some of you have been asking what things I'm excited about that are coming out, what things I know about that are coming out. So I just wanted to cover something, and I was talking with Martin at Stash 05, and we said, hey, how about let's do a collaboration video. We talk about the things we're excited about, some of the things we're excited about together. And, Martin, he's hugely excited about a bunch of the releases that I am, and I'm excited about some of his. So he has some different ones. So make sure you check out his video as well. I'll have that tagged down below in the description as well. So you can click on that and go to his channel. And then obviously subscribe to his as well. He's got some good content on there as well. He is just coming back into collecting more and more now, and maybe I can take credit for that because he kind of watched my videos, and that's how we came in contact with each other and found out that, hey, he wants to get back to collecting some of these, and it kind of brought to mind the enjoyment of collecting. And so I'm excited for him that he's going to be collecting again, and I'm excited that you guys are collecting, and I hope we all can keep this community growing. And if you know other people that are looking for a community of collectors and things that are talking about things that are coming out that they're excited about, things to pre-order that maybe they don't know about, or releases from other countries, please make sure to share these videos with them. The more these get shared, the more people that know about the releases that are coming out that also help the channel to grow, the more of these I can do, and that definitely helps out. So any comments, any questions you have, please make sure you put them below in the comment section, and make sure to like this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this today. I really enjoyed doing this one with you. I know I gave you a little bit longer of a video than what I thought I was going to do, but I hope you've all enjoyed this today. Please give this a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe. If you haven't already subscribed, please make sure to subscribe below. And then all of the links for everything that we've talked about today and any of the stuff that Martin at Stash 05 has talked about, they will be listed below the description of this video. If you go into that description, it'll have what the link is, and then it'll have the link there, so that way you can go in and pre-order or buy any of these. That way you don't have to go around and look for them, and those do help out and support the channel as well. So please make sure that if you're going to buy any of these, go through the links below. That helps support the channel, to help it to keep growing, so that way I can continue to provide this stuff to you guys. I do appreciate all of you today. I hope you've all enjoyed this today and are excited about some of these releases that are coming out. Please let me know if some of these you're excited about. What of these you're excited that are coming out and what you want to get. I appreciate all of your time today. Thank you so much for all of you and joining me, both you guys and ladies. I appreciate all the time that you've spent with me today. I look forward to the next time we get to do this together. As always, I hope all of you have a blessed day and look forward to the next time we get to chat.